sewer plant.
You guys all set?
Yep.
Okay, it's about 6 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting to order. If you would, please rise. We're going to open with a pledge, and we will follow that with a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And once the phone is done ringing, we're going to have a moment of silence for those who have gone before us, including, and probably heaviest on our hearts, is Chief Bell from the Cambridge area. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Trustee Bob.
Here.
Trustee Karen Sprague. Here. Trustee Brian Bushman.
Here.
Trustee Bob Ryan.
Here.
Trustee Ben Patton.
Here.
And Trustee Kevin O'Malley.
Here.
Also present,
thanks, sir.
Village Attorney Gilchrist and David Ingle.
All right. I don't think I did. First off, my apologies. I did not get the agenda up online as I normally do the day of. Our webmaster is on vacation starting today, and while I did figure out how to get into the site, I just wasn't all that comfortable making edits yet. So my apologies on that. I have a few correspondences. I'm going to start with one that's actually not on the agenda. I received a card from Stephanie Waldron, who is the mother of the family who had the fire, and I just wanted to pass this on to everyone and read it because I think it's a great representation of what our community is and how we handle adversity. Thank you so much for all your help and support after our house fire. We've been truly blessed with an outpouring of help and support from everyone. We can't thank you enough for your support for us at this difficult time in our lives. Words cannot express our gratitude for all of the prayers, thoughts, help, and encouragement offered to our family. We are truly blessed to be a part of this caring community. It is truly amazing how many people jumped at the opportunity to help us out. Stephanie and Eric, Peyton, and Lily. So I just wanted to read that. If you guys want to pass around and take a look at it, that's fine. I have a couple additional correspondences. This one is from the town of Hoosick Lions. Dear Mayor Allen, on behalf of the town of Hoosick Lions Club, I'm requesting the use of Wood Park, the bandstand, and the village streets on Saturday, May 19th, 2018, from approximately 6 a.m. until 1 p.m. for the 33rd annual Wood Memorial Road Race. If you would please bring this request to the village board for their consideration, it would be greatly appreciated. You can also provide a certificate of insurance if required. From Peter Church, Town of Hoosick Lions.
What's the date of the race?
Saturday, May 19th. And they're going to use the time from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m., but I'm not exactly sure what time. I feel like it starts at 8 or 8:30 or 9? 9 o'clock. All right, thank you. So I guess I'm looking for a motion.
Motion. Second.
All right. Bobby, second, Bob Downing. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And my next one is from Mr. Dingling Ice Cream. My name is Brian Collis, operator of Mr. Dingling Ice Cream. I want to apply to the village board to renew my vendor's license from 2017. I would operate a 1999 GMC step van, license plate number 52728JY, from April 15th to October 1st, 2018.
We have a noise ordinance.
I was just going to ask that because last year it is aggravating the hello. I wanted to get hit by a train when it stopped on the tracks installed last year. I prayed for the first time in 20 years. I am sorry.
This is on the record, Brian.
Yes, it
I'm
is.
recording all this as a reminder.
Sorry, got me started, Kevin. No, it is a nuisance. It is an absolute nuisance. Sorry,
If I
Kevin.
can, if we're going to talk about that with the noise, I'm getting a number of complaints about Cumberland Farms in their music outside.
Really?
People, a young lady came in the other day, and I went over to Cumberland Farms to talk to them. She called corporate headquarters. They weren't being cooperative with them.
Okay.
I went over and I talked to the manager. They said that they would try to pass it on. So
Volume
we are
control in
thinking
the time.
about Mr. Dingling. which I understand.
You call me Mr. Dingling or the Mr. Dingling?
Oh boy, that is a new nickname. That is
Remember
tempting.
that's on the record.
Yeah, trusty Dingling.
I'm loud, but not everywhere.
But it might be something you might want to.
Do we have rules on noise
I
ordinances?
think we do. Disturbing the pace, what is it, 6 to 10?
Yes, and if it's unreasonable as well.
Okay,
So what is deemed unreasonable?
that's yeah.
I'm happy approving it as long as it comes with the condition of he doesn't play the annoying.
We tried. I mean,
I don't
that's,
think
I don't
that.
think
I think
any
that
kids
comes
like
with it.
that.
I don't think we have that.
I
Then you can
think
ring
we
a
can
little bell.
vent our frustrations about the sound, but in all honesty, I don't think Mr. Dingling's not going to be Mr. Dingling if he can't ring his bell and sing the damn song.
But if he rings a bell, that's
Nobody
fine.
would know they're there.
Wasn't there at one time a regulation that he couldn't play it while the vehicle was stopped?
I don't know about that.
You know what? Let's.
There may have been because his hello has really just come on the scene in the past.
Yeah, that's
3
a
years.
little. You can take that
Well,
other ways too. Seriously.
Right.
It
Do you
sounds
have a-
like.
Do you have a decimal
Take
meter?
it, Bob.
No.
It sounds like
The
we
city
need
of Troy
to.
has a noise ordinance that they have.
Yes.
But-
I think it happens in Troy because I see him in Troy driving around.
You can do a condition on it that they
But Hoosick Falls is
not
nicer
have
than
the
Troy.
music when they're stopped.
I don't agree with that. It might be just something that Andy.
Well, we do have over a month before we would start. So we could always pass it now and then discuss later.
I
in
was
the next
asking
board
from
meeting.
April 1st.
Yes, sir.
That's not a month.
It seems like a few things last year. He was a traffic hazard when he stopped on Route 22
Mm-hmm.
and blocked up traffic. Can you restrict him to stay off the main highway and park? You know, if he's going to stop, be in the side streets.
Okay.
I don't know if you can do that with the state.
Yeah, we can't tell him he can't be on the state road. We don't have the authority to do that.
Well,
We have no.
he's stopping right in traffic.
I understand
Well,
that, but
there's
we
no-
don't have the
there's no-
jurisdiction.
There's no parking at state highways.
No, why
Well,
can't he park there?
there's parking on Church Street.
What I was going to
Upper
say,
22.
if you have the
You're talking River
contact,
Street?
gentlemen,
Upper 22.
that maybe I
It's
can.
annoying.
Yes, I do. It's on the letterhead.
On High Street.
And then I'll
Okay.
Should
Well,
not, give him a ticket.
Well,
maybe I can reason with him.
How much money do we make as off the permit, and do we get tax revenue from this, or is it just
$25 a month.
$25 a month?
Woo.
Hello?
I'll put on the record you can take it out of whatever we get paid a month to make up for it. To be quiet.
All right. So Andy, looks like we have some follow up to do on whatever noise ordinances are.
Just on noise, local laws or ordinances, you're correct, they're very, very difficult to enforce. Whether you have a meter, noise meter or not, it's really difficult if you set specific decibel standards on enforcement, being out there with the meter, getting the evidence to prosecute, saying you're violating the noise ordinance. Many municipalities have the more general standards of nuisance type noise, but the noise standards are very, very difficult for municipalities to enforce. And Bob, on that issue of Cumberland Farms, whoever you talk to, you should follow up again with them. Remind them that the new one in Brunswick being built, we talked specifically about the music near the gas pumps.
Right, I thought we got at that meeting.
And they agreed to talk to them and they're not going to play the music there. And they indicated the one in Latham. They also got complaints that they stopped playing it in Latham, so remind them it could be. There you go.
I was involved in a meeting where they were speaking of that. I've done that on other occasions. I will go across the music.
All right. Thank you,
camera, she
Andy.
would-
It was Ken.
I am looking for a motion to, or I guess I'm asking for a motion to approve this, but we can always come back. We can either add stipulations. I mean, your choice to.
I'll make
the
a motion that we approve it. I mean, I'm not going to be the
Okay,
kid that
second,
denies
Karen.
kids ice cream. The guy in the
Listen,
way.
Stuart.
I make the motion. We accept. We authorize the permit.
And Karen
Rob,
seconded
if you want to forward me his information, I'll
Certainly.
call him and speak to him.
Certainly.
Maybe I can have a conversation.
And you can only have like a gentleman's agreement. It's not like you can make him like Andy. It's not like it can be too hard to enforce.
Yeah.
It's difficult just for noise. Public safety is another issue.
Right.
Yep.
But
You know, some
noise,
people about 22 say.
noise on itself.
Yeah, if he's stopping on 22 on High Street, there's no parking, that's a different story, right?
Yep.
And aren't they supposed to have the noise off when kids are crossing the road and things?
I
I know
don't know.
buses and everything, the noise is off.
We'll look into it.
Let me see what I can do.
Because
Wow.
kids crossing the road. you
Mr.
gotta be able
Dingling, a
to
big
hear
conversation
and see.
here.
Exactly.
That's what
All right, so we have a motion. Any further discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Okay. Motion carries.
Looking good,
What was that?
Stuart.
Sunshine? What was that he said before? Sunshine. All right. Here you go. Thank you.
I'm gonna send them sit outside your house.
I always hear him.
I'm
It's all
gonna
right.
give your kids money.
I actually sing along and say hello on time. Okay, a couple of events coming up. Reminder, St. Patrick's Day Parade is at noon, not the normal start time of 1 p.m. It's noon, and that is this Saturday. Also, and there afterwards in the park, there's some various music. Kevin, you want to give us any rundown on what's all available after the parade?
Well, tentatively, there's a band right after the parade at 1 o'clock, and then there's another band at 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Okay.
And there's food and other things going on there as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you, and thank you, and Marie and everyone else who's been involved in that process for all that
And a
work you
reminder,
do.
we're gonna have, the road's gonna be blocked off right about from this corner to the corner to
As soon as the
church.
parade is complete,
Opens back up.
well, as soon as the parade itself is complete, the road will be shut down. As soon as
Okay.
The park is over with, we'll open up once people have.
All right. All right, and additionally, village election is Tuesday, a week from today, here in the municipal building between the hours of noon and 9 p.m. And two other things I wanted to mention. I was invited to and able to attend both the Hoosick Falls Fire Department ceremony and the Town of Hoosick Rescue Squad ceremony. They were both really nice events. It was great to see all the people, all the volunteers who do so much with their time for this community, and of course, working with them in the July flood was definitely an eye-opening experience to what they do, and hearing a lot of, especially the fire department, how many calls they had, and seeing how many people responded to them. It was interesting. The most calls was Jake Hahn, who's a senior over at Hoosick Falls, an incredible amount of calls. But I was just really neat to be part of those. And I was really glad to be there.
For dinner and having the town park catch on fire.
Oh yes, during the fire department's rescue or during the fire department ceremony, there was a fire call right outside at the park, and of course a couple of them ran after and got the individuals who were playing with fire.
Ones that you went along, I haven't married.
Okay.
Oh.
All right.
Literally.
At this point, we're going to move to the People to be Heard section. As a reminder, please state your name and address for the record. Everything is recorded, and we're posting things online on a regular basis. Can I have an idea of how many people would like to speak tonight? One? Okay. Take it away.
Kevin Alley, 5421 State Route 7, Hoosick Falls, New York. At last month's meeting, I asked if you could, at this month's meeting, have an update on the Jet Street VOCs.
Yep.
I don't see that on the agenda.
I don't have that on the agenda, but I can certainly give you I spoke with DEC and DOH and EPA, and I have my monthly call that happens within a week before these meetings. They have moved forward with some IRMs. They've done work on the basements. I want to say there were 8 total basements where they had to do work on, and they are now in the process of getting tests to reaffirm is the wrong word, but basically to make sure that what they did was working. And once that's done, they are set. And I feel like they're starting to do some additional work in the area, in particular. I think around the actual where the plant was located. I don't have anything tangible that they gave me, but I just sort of got an update on it.
Have they identified the full area of the plume of contamination?
I don't think so, because I think that's what the supplemental investigation scope is going to entail.
Okay.
I don't have anything yet, but I'm hoping in terms of data. In fact, when I was talking about a lot of the other sites, there are a lot of samples that that are either in process right now, and we'll have data on that soon, or that the cycle is they're waiting for the season to finally get past today's junk, so they can continue on additional scope.
It would be great if they could send you a timeline as to when they expect different events to either take place or to.
Can I ask for that?
come to fruition.
Certainly.
At last month's meeting, we also discussed Gen X and Gen X emissions that are in the street. They said they would get those results to you, and we could post them on the village's website. I'm not sure I've seen that.
Was this for what Gen X specific to the water, the
emission for Liberty Street?
Air emissions?
Air emissions.
Nothing has happened yet in terms of them doing tests for air emissions. I think that is part of their additional supplemental investigation, because I know that they
said at last month's meeting they've already tested Connie. They said they've already tested Hoosick Falls.
They did test the Connie. I remember when speaking with them because they were working with me on some of the air stuff. They are doing two things now where they're part of what I was helping out with DC, especially living close to one of the plants, was when do you smell certain things so they can try to match smells and timing to what the processes are at the different plants. I don't think they have tested the stacks for either at this point, but will. There's Liberty Street has a permit to dispose of 3 different chemicals by incineration, and that's kind of one of the smells you'll have from that plant up there. They're aware of that, but they're going to also check. They want to look into to make sure things are within the permit, and then
the two guys from DC that sat there specifically said they had the results and that they would send those to the mayor, and the mayor could put them up on the website.
I have not seen them, but I don't think I followed up with them. I don't think that was my question, but I will follow up with them.
We did raise that question at DEC, as you recall,
Mm-hmm.
and we did not get a direct response from them.
Also, person.
What they said was, and we were talking to the people in the remedial program, and they gave us essentially a standard answer along the lines of, well, that's an issue for the air program, and we're sure that the air program is keeping track of whether they're in compliance with all of their discharge parameters. To which I said, using the chemicals when the permits were written, these chemicals were not contemplated as being in discharge. And that was the end of the conversation that we had. And there will be more to follow. So we don't have any further information. We should have further information, but it has not been forthcoming.
Just to update you, those smells that you're talking about, I get out of the greenhouse.
Yeah, I'm not surprised, depending on which plan and what process they're doing.
Okay, so just think about the amount that's being dispersed, okay, and the area that's traveling. Now, the tests that were done up at ChemFab up in Bennington, they could give you, and if you look at that report that came out that the state did, it shows the number of pounds of PFOA that was put out of the stacks, where it was dispersed. They have everything.
We brought that up too.
Yeah. Okay. Has that taken place?
We haven't gotten any data on it yet.
We raised that with them, and DEC's response to us was they didn't think that was a very good report, and they also said, gee, we're having a hard time correlating what that report suggests with where we're. That report, as they looked at that report, it didn't provide strong numbers with respect to the correlation between what was being discharged and where they were finding PFOA, to which we said something along the lines of, well, at least the study was done with respect to the emissions over there, the airborne emissions. And if my own thought was, well, of course you're going to have a hard time finding a correlation between the patterns of the emissions and what you're finding later on the ground or in the water, because there are all sorts of, confounding factors such as terrain and, who knows what else, and land use things that are going to disrupt any sort of neat pattern. And here again, that's where the discussion ended.
Well, but they were able to identify at that facility the number of pounds that was emitted.
Yes.
And that should be here. They should be able to do that here.
There's no question about that. And in fact, St. Gobain has done that kind of analysis not only over in Bennington, but they did it at the New Hampshire facility.
Yeah.
And as early as, I think about 10 years ago, they did it at their facility in Shannon, Ireland. And the one they did for the
It's
Irish
15 years
EPA
ago.
Huh?
It's 15 years ago.
15 years ago. So, as early as about 15 years ago, the Irish authorities were on them on this issue. And that report, which we have, frankly, I've always regarded that as kind of a stand-in for what we need to know about Hoosick, because it's essentially the same kind of operation.
DEC is just doing something similar to that in Petersburg, but public information is a little sparse.
Is it something you're going to be pushing though with the Gen X? Because if I'm not mistaken, it was positive in Taconic.
It was positive in Taconic, I think. I feel like it was.
Yeah. So.
Yes, because it's a big concern, and actually that concern was communicated from EPA as well. They're also concerned about Gen X here because they also heard when we heard that Gen X was reported to have been used here. So still not coming up in any of the water, but again, it has to get through the soil first.
The next question I have is there's been multiple test drillings that have been done over around Liberty Street.
Yes.
And do we have any of the results as to what they tested for and what those results were?
No, I got, I'm trying to remember this because I left my notes at home where I took the call. They did the drilling in July. I feel like they have done one round, or they're going to be doing one round soon. There's some data that we're waiting on, both at McCaffrey Street and Liberty Street. Both the Liberty Street and McCaffrey Street had supplemental scope of investigations where they included all the extra geoprobes and drilling that they want to do to monitor wells. But no, I asked about that, and they're actually still waiting on the data as well. DEC doesn't even have it yet, so I'm thinking that it's still processing at this point. I feel like there was one round that started in late January and just finished up with samplings on both sites that literally just finished up, so I'm hoping by next month we'll have some data on that.
And I already know what the answer to this question is.
Then why? I mean,
for the record, is there any way you could get from them a timeline as to when they expect these results to come in and when further sampling should be done?
Over there.
Like I said, I already know. The answer to that is this: we will get the results from DEC. The village has given those companies who are doing the sampling access to village property, so that sampling can be done on the village property. I will be very open here. What I've advised the mayor is as follows: unless everybody, and this includes the state, the companies and their consultants, begin to give us the data as it's produced, we will withdraw the access permission, and we will go back and renegotiate it on the condition that when they get sample results, they give them to us immediately. We share your frustration, and both the state and the company should be more forthcoming than they've been. I can't speak to what they've been doing over Liberty Street. I've seen a lot of the numbers over on, the McCaffrey Street area. Those numbers are, much higher than I think anyone had anticipated going in, and they cover a much broader piece of property or territory than had been anticipated. I don't think anybody's waiting on good news from these numbers.
And my understanding about the sampling in McCaffrey Street that the companies are doing is that it's on a quarterly basis. About every 3 months they're doing samples. So my hope is that you can ask the same question next meeting. We'll have some data for you. But at this point, it's my understanding that DEC hasn't even received that data yet because the sampling was just finished and they're waiting for it to process and get through. So. All right.
My last question is, one you've been waiting for is the last question. The town of Hoosick received $25,000 to do a study, to do a mailer. The letter that went out wasn't signed. Wasn't signed by the town board, wasn't signed by St. Gobain, wasn't signed by anybody. and it had 7 ridiculous questions that were put onto that. I can't get a breakdown as to what that cost, but it seems just to be a little disingenuous that St. Cobain would issue $25,000 to the town of Hoosick to do a questionnaire or survey, and they don't want to pay for some of the expenses that the village has.
Well, I don't know the number that the town received, or
He's right there asking.
I could certainly ask him. But I do know that some of the things that they have decided to pay us for or not pay us for, reimburse us and not reimbursement, have been a little bit surprising, a little bit frustrating. But we're going to continue our dialogue and see if something can happen.
And for Mr. O'Malley, I can understand working at the Board of Elections why there would be a noise ordinance that based on some of the videos that I've seen.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone else?
Never a dull moment.
There you go.
While we're on DEC, have they given you a date as to
Name.
the meeting?
Come on, Lorraine. You should. I mean, come on.
Back at 3rd Street. Did they give you, when they were here, they also said they were looking to have a public meeting with Hoosick Falls. Have they given you a date?
We're trying to agree on a date and a procedure for that. We're not sort of, I guess, in a sense, ready to do that yet. We're still working on it with them, but we don't have anything yet. You know that as soon as we have something, we'll be shouting it from the hilltops, but nothing yet.
And to follow up, Kevin, just if you smell something, say something. You like that?
Oh,
I'm on fire today.
That's nice.
But seriously, if you guys, just to put it out there in general, one of the things I've been doing is just keeping log of when things are smelled. And if you do, send me an email, bushner@hfvillage.org, just last name at hfvillage.org. And including there, when did you smell it, and where, what you put your address in, or what street even. I don't know your exact address, but well, maybe county, but in the village. That way, DC can add that to their log.
But
And
they think all the way out of the green.
Well, right, but that's important too. And also note, did you smell it outside when you went outside? One thing I know they're particularly interested in is if you're smelling it in your house, because at that point it is a problem, it's intrusion, and that's something they take more seriously. So just to put it out there as you guys smell stuff, send me an email.
I left the greenhouse, I went down, I turned right by Smitty's old gas station, right there, it's Brian Pellet's place, and then I went up Hill Road by Wicks's old place, well, some people know it as Guidance Hill, you can smell it up there. Going out that way.
Yeah, I mean when that happens, let me know the date and time and where you were, so that way they can add that to their. Because I'm working with the air people to help them with creating a log of that.
All right. Let's move on for a quick moment. Treasurer's report. Give me just 1 minute. Let's bring this up. Actually, let's come back to the treasury report for 1 minute. You want to look at that real fast? Yeah. We'll come back to that. Let's look to approve the various minutes from the special meeting in December, the emergency meeting in late January, the special meeting of last one. Do we have minutes from the last normal meeting in here too?
No, because I'm not going to update.
My spiel? Okay. So we'll approve the last minutes. So I guess I'm looking for, unless you guys saw anything to change, which I didn't, we'll do one at a time. Looking for a motion to adopt the special meeting minutes from December 22nd of 17. Ryan?
Second.
Second, Ben. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Looking for a motion to accept the emergency meeting minutes from January 31st of
That's
that would
18.
be 18, not 17. Yep. Bob Downing. Second from Karen?
Second.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear
You guys are earning
it. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. And finally, the special meeting minutes from February 27th of 2018.
Motion.
Ben? Second, Bob Downing. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. We'll come back to treasury report in a minute. Bob, you want to go with the police report?
Yes, total calls for 2018 for the month of February is 98. compared to last year in February, there were 97. Total calls to date from January to February 2018 were 299. And from 2017 from the same period, January to February 2013. Total arrests for February 2018 was 13. Total arrests in February 2017 was 9. Total arrests so far between January and February 23 compared to last year was 21. There was 6 accidents. Sex offense registries were 2. Larcenies were 4. Criminal mischiefs were 3. Check welfare were 5. Domestic were 12. Harassment were 2. 1 arrest was 3. Just go with landlord tenant disputes were 3. Neighbor disputes were 2. EMSs were 10. There was 1 burglary, 1 mental health, 1 alarm job, 2 lockouts, and 1 found loss. Calls handled by the village PD outside the village per request were 5 for the month of February. Those arrests involved 5 traffic arrests, 1 bench warrant, 1 medicine, 1 criminal mischief arrest, which was the result of the fire that occurred at the town park on the night of it. That involved 1 17-year-old and 1 14-year-old.
Were they burning? Were they burning
They
playground?
They lit the inside the mulch there around the wooden chips and stuff they lit on fire. It was going pretty good. And they took off. Actually, I was walking in at the time to come into to it, and I noticed it. We went and got the firemen, and the firemen and the patrols caught with both the kids.
Can there be more patrols up there this summer?
Yes. And we're going to try to get our bike patrol to do a little more up there too in the evening.
It's a shame they fixed up that place really nice, and it's already been destroyed. Some of the gates or the fencing has been knocked down. They kicked the wood out of the wooden slats out of the corners as well.
Last year we were starting to experience a lot of problems up there with kids, and we started coming down on them hard. And I don't mean in a mean way, but just moving them on their way. And I think we started chasing them out of there by 9, 10 o'clock at night. And then continuing with patrol across the night. So hopefully we'll be a little bit more aggressive this year. That probation arrest was in the result of the criminal mischief arrest, and arrests for other agencies were 1. There was a burglary there that we had. We made an arrest on that shortly after we fled the area. We were able to get him down in Vermont and bring him back. This book here that I'm holding holds 3 grants that we submitted to the New York State Traffic Safety Committee. One is Click It and Ticket, which will be from May 20th to June 2nd. We've asked for funding for that, to be part of that. The other one's a child passenger safety checks that involves 2 of them that we'll do through the course of the year. We requested about $6,000 for that. That will buy the seats. Also, to give us a trailer, they give you a tent, everything else is set up for these checkout things. And the last one will be equipment that will be used for traffic safety throughout the course of the year. I won't know until, May we'll know about the Click It and Ticket, and the other ones will come in time, and I'll keep you up to date on it. And it goes from either 5,000 to 20,000. We put it to the top end.
Okay.
We'll see how fortunate.
If we do get that one with the car seats, give us a heads up on it. If there's a hard date solidified, and we'll get that out.
Right, and we have to hold X amount of meetings, and I've already talked to some of the organizations in the town so that when they might do a function there, we'll be there as well. We'll advertise.
Okay.
And such. And the other one was we did meet with some of the bars that are going to be involved with the St. Patrick's Day parade, just to give them what we're expecting, what we're looking for. We've asked them all to serve plastic cups. They're fine with all that. Each organization is going to have additional personnel on hand to handle the doors at their place, and if there's a problem, they're going to give us a call. And it's worked fine in the past. I'm not worried about it. We'll have additional officers on staff, and we'll be fine.
There's also a taxi ride home after 4 o'clock.
Right. And we'll be monitoring as we have in the past with the taxi. If they have a problem with something,
Is that Steve's Kevin? Steve's got it.
Whether it's the,
Is radar included maybe with the traffic safety?
Yes.
There's
There'll be
also
additional
some
radar
Ubers
and
around
what they
town.
call, we put in this Uber
Ubers
plate
less.
reader that goes on the back of the cars. So as patrol cars are driving down the road, the plate reader is reading the plates.
No, I'm talking about when they go by your
Yes.
house. You're
She
going
means
50.
a portable,
Oh,
right?
she means the
Oh,
portable.
you want
She's
the
bringing
sign?
up her usual
Yes.
My
request.
usual thing.
You have to state your name and your address first.
Anborn, 18 Cummings Street.
Yes, that's a little steep on the price for that.
Even
radar
if
thing,
it's
but we're
portable
looking
and
at
you can put it on Main
What's
Street.
one of those run, Bob? How much?
about $5,000.
Yeah, it's a couple thousand.
You know, for
we're
Ann,
looking for it.
They can use these all over. You can move
No, we
it.
can move them. They're
Yeah.
portable. We
Yeah.
can move them around. And we're looking at.
Come on over on my street about 6:30 in
I
the
gotta
morning.
go.
You know, you
get
should
grants for stuff like that.
just
right?
mention.
I'll keep telling him.
We're looking at it.
Since God, I reminded you.
They're
On the
looking
sex
at it.
offense registry, are they two new ones, or they?
What?
One new one and one, they have to notify us when they move from one home to another. So one of them are that person that's moved from one house to another. And their book is here, so at any given time, we have to monitor that on a monthly basis, basically. And some of them have to come in here and update their photograph yearly. And if they move, they have to tell us where they're moving. If they move out of our jurisdiction, we have to make notification to the state. The state then takes it to that new jurisdiction. And they've got 10 days to register at that jurisdiction. If any one of them, just to expand a little bit more, if any sex offender from outside is visiting, or if they're coming into the town to work, they have to have a special pass. They have to check in with us, and that's put on record as well.
Chief, I also want to say thank you for every morning students are being greeted by officers, and that's actually something that I don't know if you've heard any feedback, not to bring the other job in, but that I know they've actually felt really glad to see them there.
It's
extra
been
safe,
working
so
well.
thank you.
And I know tomorrow there's the walkout.
Yep, national walkout.
So we're actually not going outside.
They're not.
They're doing something internally. Yes.
And they've requested that
Yeah.
the patrol and our patrol will be over there
Mm-hmm.
for that given time as well.
Yep.
All right.
Chief, with the safety seats, if you get that grant, do you have to be trained? Not yourself.
We have a certified officer that's trained. He's already been to the basic. That was one of the requirements, that we had a certified officer, and he's already been certified. And in that money that we're requesting is additional training costs for additional officers.
To learn how to install them?
How to install them. To
check
obtain
them.
this grant, you have to have a certified officer on scene to check these.
Because most of them are wrong. Most
Yep.
of the time when they bring them in, they're installed incorrectly.
Incorrect.
I mean,
Yep.
I hear all kinds of stories about in different towns and cities where they have it done, and like 80 or 90% are put in incorrectly
Yep.
to begin with. So it's great to have somebody that's certified that can show them actually how to do it.
And I know some of them. I mean, I go crazy trying to my grandchildren.
They're a pain.
They're crazy. The way they
They're
are.
now. They
Some of them are very simple, but when they're simple, they're wrong.
Right.
Yes,
If it looks like it's simple, it's
that's
not
exactly right.
It's like a microwave.
Yes.
You should market that.
Can I sign up for training?
Well, when we do them, like I said, the officer will be here. He'll be certified, and if anybody wishes to stop in, they'll show them as well how to do it.
Perfect.
All right. Anything else? Motion to approve the police report.
Motion.
Ben.
Second.
Second, Bobby, for the discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Let's bounce back to the treasurer's report, then we'll go to the code enforcement report.
Okay. This year's budget, of course, is a work in motion. We are in
Yes, it is.
a deficit situation in some line items due to flood expenses impacting the general fund. Some of that's been able to reverse some costs out of the flood line and cover them with a CHIPS project. Some of the Spring Street work for almost $30,000. And that we're looking to finance, even though we're looking to finance some of the flood expense, that will help the cash flow. It will not erase the expenditure to the budget. So what it basically comes down to is that all of the department heads are asked to please not spend anything unless it's integral to running of their department. Even if it was a budgeted item, we will have to continue to lessen expenses until the fiscal year ends in order to have the best outcome in the fund balance. Water is in the same situation as we had to add additional attorneys, add additional costs this year that were unanticipated last year at this time. Again, department heads have been told absolutely nothing purchased that is absolutely not necessary. Sewer fund will generally end up fine unless we have an unforeseen catastrophic event.
Oh, don't even say that.
I'm only reading it. We will have a much better handle on what our revenues look like when the April billing is completed. Until then, everyone needs to proceed with caution in any purchasing. So that's where we're at right now.
When is the end of your fiscal year?
May
31st.
31st. June 1st is the start of the next fiscal year.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Any questions? Comments? Can we have a motion to not have a flood ever again? Okay. All right. Looking for motion to approve the treasurer's reports. Thank you, Bob Downing.
Bob
Second, Karen. Any further discussion?
Thanks, kids.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Code enforcement report. Mark.
Basically, a lot of the same information, which is as far as cases and inspections and things like that. But I thought it was pretty busy when I was in the 80 and 90, kind of 80 or 90 cases open. I was around 170 right now. So. And a lot of that's a result of the mailing that we did, again, November, December. So we're still kind of working through that whole cycle. And as you can see, I've been doing a lot of the biannual inspections, which is what that mailing is about, inspecting all different houses. One of the things that I'm running into, and there's probably some things we can discuss as we go on, but a lot of these biannual inspections, if they're owner occupied, then I'm not required to inspect the owner part of that. And what's brought to my attention a couple of times is by like a tenant, does that mean there's not going to be any problems on the owner's side that I have to worry about? And I said, well, I'm really not required to inspect their side. Some people do invite me in to do the inspection, but most don't. So, just so you're aware of that, because it is kind of there could be a problem in the other part of the building.
Yeah. It could impact that apartment.
So something that we may want to take a look at some point.
Yep.
Start going through this.
Yep.
Besides that, with the court cases, you see, I think we're down to like 4.
Yeah.
We were up to 12 or 13 at one point. We're down to 4, and the 4 that we're down to, 1 will probably be taken care of at the next court night, and then the other 3 are just going to be more intense.
Yeah.
And then but it has opened the door for me. I've issued I think 3 citations recently. So starting in April, now that we kind of have a new process in place, look forward to working that process, and we'll start that. I'm starting it now, so I'm starting to issue some citations as it's needed. And those citations, keep in mind, are only really issued after I feel like I've given every opportunity to try to. The goal, and one of the things you're taught is you just want people to comply. The goal is compliance. But when they're not, and they feel like they're not working with you, then you have to do the citations.
Have you got any pushback from people about the letters you sent out?
A little. Some people didn't seem to, they tell you they've never heard of it before or different things. But it's a law that's been on the book for a long time. So if you have a rental property, you have a responsibility to have that property inspected by law, and the apartments. And some things, we have the 2 things. You have a pre-tenant inspection that's required after one tenant moves out and before another one moves in. The apartment has to be inspected. And then every second year, the whole building kind of has to be inspected. So.
The other thing was, we've had some violations for front porches, and it seems like the solution has been for some of these people is just to tear the porch off rather than to fix it. Is that an acceptable resolution to?
It is, as far as it's taking care of the issue.
There's nothing the village can do to have that structure fixed rather than just torn out their house.
I would have to look into that, I don't know if that's
Because
because.
I'm only mentioning because the one property, I think the guy said he was going to fix it for the last 2 years, and it's been, I don't know how long it's been pending. And then now all of a sudden he just took the porch off rather than fix it.
Yeah.
And then there's a house right next to it that they did the same thing, that they just tore the porch off rather than fix
Well,
it.
they're supposed to be fixing that one.
Yeah.
The one next door.
But aesthetically speaking, it isn't, drive around the village and you see these people just ripping their porches off rather than fixing
Well,
it.
there's
Or
more.
adding
There's,
them.
somebody brought one to my attention the other day, not that I had to, but, like I said, I gotta drive around with blinders on sometimes. But there are three houses that come to mind right off the bat that have beautiful front porches that are falling apart. The rounded, curved kind of porches, and private homes.
And I understand.
Not dealing with rental properties.
And I understand sometimes it's a financial burden for some people to fix their porches.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just disconcerting to see them come down and it ruins the aesthetics of the properties. And ruins the community.
Well, nobody's sitting on them because of Mr. Dingaling.
Personally, the one you're talking about, it made it safer because it was a hazard where it was.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So even though you may not agree with the fact that it's not there any longer, it is safer.
Yeah.
Mark, is that, and this actually probably is more of a lawyer question too, is that a property value thing? If you have a porch, does that increase your value in terms of assessment or no?
Not, I don't think so.
Okay. No, because I guess making them repair, we couldn't be saying we're forcing them to keep something that adds to their taxes.
Well, if you take it off, your assessment's not going down. So
Right.
that's
Well, that's why I'm just kind of questioning, if there is something we can look
If I put one
into.
on, do I need a building permit to put one on?
Yes, you do.
Yeah. To take it off.
It's gonna go up.
No,
Not in all cases.
not if it's the same size.
Depends on the size.
Or add one. That's why I was kind of asking what if there was something in there that we could end up stepping into. Mark, also, you mentioned, I did see you put trash can reminder, and living in the ward, special ward. I just wanted to add, though, that the last, 2 or 3 weeks, they've not come the day of, they're supposed to, or the next day, in cases it was supposed to be like Friday, they came Monday. I know there's been snow, but in second ward, I think it feels like second ward's been the day where we get the storms and they're really late. I know mine was up here, as I look in, it's still there. But also with the snow, sometimes it's been a little hard to get it all the way up back. Pull it off the curb, but I think for a lot of houses in second ward being so close, and them coming late, so I don't know if that's something we should address with.
I wonder if there's a way we could increase communication with that.
Well, I get notices, but it's too late to let the public know.
Right.
It's like, okay, why didn't you tell us this?
Call Matt and tell him.
Today.
Yeah, in some cases, I think River Street didn't get picked up this past week until Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, that's what I kept looking every day. I'm like,
now all of a sudden it's a problem.
yeah.
I never had an issue with it.
But it's been a thing lately, and just it could be something we use. I do a non-update on New York Alert, but I don't know if that's something we could use to push out a text if it's late in a ward, but down the road if we.
Well, I don't
have
get a
that.
lot of phone calls on it, but like I said, when County Waste calls me, it's already too late to let the people that live there know.
Right.
Go for. And they already know their garbage is still there, so.
Well, except for one day they came early, and I'm like, come on.
We used to have it out.
We're used to getting ours out Thursday night, but often no, it won't be picked up.
But just as a heads up, there's been.
Well, it's been a weird weather.
Yeah.
I know, such as
I
life.
tell people as I'm doing inspections, but really it's one of those things that I've just been with all the cases that I have going on. I haven't tried to tackle. I just try and tell people as I go. And I do believe the snow is part of the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mine are in the front yard like a hillbilly right now because they didn't come and we got more snow. And but it is saying.
Do you think the village board can look into grants to help homeowners that rather than see them tear their porches off and fall in disrepair, has help people in repairs? I think we've done it in the past with the HUD program. I don't know whether that's still available or there's any other funding out there to help people with that.
Certainly worth looking into.
I would love to see something where we could refer because some of these people can't afford. And that one house is a situation like that. We're not even done. I mean, that just addressed one porch. The other porch, that tree that's up on top of the porch keeps getting bigger.
There was a thing like that about 10 years ago when Civic Hero got one or something like that. They were paying people to fix their fronts of their houses.
Oh, there was a facade grant for downtown.
Yeah.
I don't know if it applied to residential too, but I don't know if that's one that would count.
No. All right, anything else? Mark, there are a couple things that were music to my ears, getting things, procedures set, and so people can expect it, and just seeing things moving. It's really, really great to hear that, so I'm glad that's going on.
Just get number 6 moved along, would you please?
May have that moved on this week. Looking for a motion to accept the code enforcement reports.
Motion.
Ben? Second, Karen. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Clerk's reports. Clerk's office.
From last month's meeting, we've had 8 one-family homes sold. It looks like mainly on 4th Ward. Right now, I'm finishing up the work for the election, which is Tuesday, March 20th. Tentative budget is also due that day.
I'm so excited.
We're entering the December utility payments and waiting to enter the April.
Mm-hmm.
It's busy.
It is.
Yes.
It's about to get worse.
Yes.
Yay. Any questions? Looking for motion to approve clerk's report?
Motion.
Second.
Bobby, Ryan, Brian, second. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Community service report. I don't have one handy. Does anybody have a community service report handy? I do? I do. Everyone's throwing their report at me. Thank you. 97 hours for the month of February 2018. Projects concluded, but are not limited to weekly cleaning of the town of office Hoosick space, detailed police cars, cleaning the water plant, cleaning the police station, cleaning the highway departments, assisted in disinfecting St. Mary's School, swept sidewalks, and cleaned debris in Wood Park.
That was nice to see.
Yeah.
Like driving down the street and they're working on getting the sidewalks cleaned up and everything.
Yep.
It was great.
They were all the way up my street. They went right to the end. It was wonderful.
And then they drove
we
down.
never see anyone.
Damn van.
They all climbed in the back of the truck.
We'll have to set them up on a weekly basis. All right. Looking for motion to approve the community service reports.
Motion.
Ben? Second, Brian. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. All right. Great. Committee reports. Bob, your final committee report?
I'd like to thank everybody who supported me over the years while I was in office here. I appreciate it. And I'm going to miss it somewhat, but there's a lot of things going on, and I hope these guys here can straighten it out and get it back to normal, and I appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Bob.
And I feel the same way. It's been an honor to serve with all of you. Bob, good luck on retirement. Hope you enjoy that family.
Or we'll see you back here.
Yeah, your commitment to this village is outstanding. Your love for it. A lot of people don't care for small towns as much as we all truly do.
Mm-hmm.
And Ann, what can I say? God bless you. For the next. Right? We appreciate you, Ann.
Ann, you hear that noise?
Hold on, I gotta scratch out my words for my page 3 stuff here.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Karen. Brian.
New York alert. They said call them in March to do. That was for reverse 911 and push messages. And he's like, well, the system still has quirks. I don't know if. And he pointed to one thing I did. I think it was last weekend. I all of a sudden got 3 storm warnings. All like it was a watch and then a warning, and then they all came through all at once. So and it was already like. Foot of snow. I'm like, oh, okay, this went well. So he said that they all got stuck in queue. They have he said, oh, when someone came in Rensselaer County in the morning, they was up in Rensselaer County, and I was like, yeah, I got them. All at once, it was a watch, it was a warning, it was flare. So he said, contact him next month because they found a new bug. I'm like, all right, I will talk to you in June.
Who's doing this?
New York alert. It's literally one guy.
Is this a state-run
poor
thing?
guy. But when I said I'll talk to you in June, he's like, no, next month. I'm like, yeah, at the rate we're going, June. And he was like, he found it funny.
We got the winter and then
So I'm still on that. Hoosick Rising, we had a meeting earlier this month. It went well, and it was an iron. The next one will be Wednesday, the 21st, at the Lewis Miller Museum at 6 p.m. People are going to be bringing ideas for how to reframe Hoosick Rising. What is it, even including a new name? What is its mission going forward? How will we support businesses that are here and also bring in new business? And part of that goal is talking to the businesses here to say, what business next door will help you grow. Who do you want next door? Who do you need to be here with you? And then also find ways for the group to actively work on attracting those people here, starting those dialogues and conversations.
Great.
And I got tied up with some stuff with certification, so my HUD call about economic development was pushed to later this week.
Okay.
But I'm going to add a question about the porches in, because we do have that money there, and I don't know if maybe we can use that as well there. So I'll tack that onto my conversation.
I think that's where the money actually came from, was a HUD
It
grant.
did. Yeah, it's a small cities grant, but then it's really specific on what it can be used for. So I gave myself a note to add that to the can it be the position and perhaps porches or rehab or grants.
All right. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Bobby?
I don't have much, just a little bit on the highway report. As Neil said, we've had plenty of snowstorms and rainstorms to keep him busy, and unfortunately, there's probably more coming as we can look out the window. And the highway garage lot has been cleared, and I know that we're waiting for bore samples and all that good stuff and engineering. So that's good that we're making progress with that anyway. And I want to thank Neil for the light pole on John Street that has finally been put back up. And I'm glad you had Hathaway's put the receptacle in so we can have power there. And I saw you had a quote as well for the balance of those. And I don't know if we'll be doing that. I know we have to budget that, and that's kind of what's that?
That's a quote for next year's budget. Yeah.
Is this the pole by iron?
Yes.
Didn't that come down when Doherty's burned?
It's come down a couple times.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say so this is like we should have a ribbon cutting for that, you know?
Probably.
It's the pole with 9 lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I can't do it this year.
Anything else?
No, that's all I have.
Thank you. Thank you, Neil. Ben?
I don't have anything committee-wise today, but this may be my last meeting, so I would also like to say how much I've enjoyed, for the most part, being on the board. I'm not going to be so arrogant to think that I'll win next week, like everyone else thinks that I may, because I did that back in the mid-2000s and got beat. So I'm not gonna think that way, but I would like to thank Bob and Karen, my running mates, the last elections, and how much I've enjoyed being with you guys and with the board in general. It's a hard job, and it took me a long time to decide whether or not I was going to run. Some of the board members know how back and forth I was deciding whether or not I would run. And then the first thing that the mayor said once I decided is, "Why are you doing that?" And that was after he encouraged me to run. So I'm not quite sure what he was thinking. Kind of a backhanded way, but I will do what I've always done if elected next week. And I wish the other 3 people that are running well. It's a hard decision to make to run for local politics because most people don't want to sit up here, they want to sit out there. And we're just like the people that sit out there. We get up and we put our pants on and dresses and everything the same way everybody else does. Sometimes.
St. Patrick's Day to kill.
We just happen to do something that we truly want to help the village move forward. And I think everybody that sits on this board believes the same way, that we do what we do not for partisan sake, but for the best interest of the village. And I think and I hope that whoever is elected, the 3 people that get on and start next month, I hope they remember that, because that's why we're here. There are a lot of issues that we have to deal with, and we're still dealing with, and we'll continue to deal with, but we will always do it with the best interest of the village in mind. So, thank you.
Thank you. Kevin?
Something that came out of the Hoosick Riding Meeting the last time, Jack Bonestein was there from Economic Development, and we asked him about the number 1 Mechanic Street. They said they have a potential buyer for the property, which is good news. They didn't say much. It's top secret, so,
Oh,
but at least someone's looking at it, and cross your fingers that we can find a
that would be
tenant for that
great.
building.
That would be great.
But they didn't give us much.
They didn't give us much, they're very secretive.
Yeah.
All right.
But they wanted to get our hopes up like last time when it fell through with
Trojan Steel, yeah.
I understand.
That was too bad.
The other thing was that he put me in touch with Chris Golden, as we talked about it, about brochures for the village. Currently, we don't have a brochure to hand out to anybody about what the village has to offer. Susan says there's grants through I Love New York with the county that they'll pay half of the brochure cost. It has to be approved by them and go through their printer, but it's much better than paying for the whole thing ourselves. They also have a flower show coming up Hudson Valley at the end of March, and they're looking for brochures to put in their booth. And the only one I've seen around here so far is the museum just came out with one, and this one here. This is for the Greenway. It's pretty nice, but it'd be even nicer if it had some pictures of the Greenway on the back that we could.
We're actually developing a new one that
great.
will list different uses as well and what restrictions are. So like ideas for winter snowshoeing, cross country skiing, that there's snowmobiles on the one part, stuff like that. No horses. So that's coming this spring.
Yeah. So if there's any other organizations out in the area that can get me the brochures between now and the next couple of weeks, we'll get them to the Rensselaer County Board of Tourism, and they'll bring them to the flower show at the end of March.
Maybe worth shooting an email out to all the Hoosick Rising folks about that.
Yeah, there'll be an email
Okay.
I'll include that in the email for the meeting.
Great. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right, thank you. All right, moving on to old business. This is
Actually, Kevin did bring up LDC. They were at the meeting as well, and
yeah, they broached the idea of doing a brochure themselves. So I texted one of the members today to ask her about it, just so we're not duplicating the same thing.
but I just wanted to that's one where we don't really have a lot of what's going on, and where I believe we're supposed to be getting a regular report to the board. I just wanted to bring up that that was kind of a mystery what's going on.
Well, they mentioned that they were working on a brochure, and
yeah, but I mean in terms of what they're doing with, I think that we should probably get an update on that regularly from them so we can share that.
Sit down with them because I really haven't gotten to have many conversations.
So we're not duplicating services or working on the same thing.
Right.
Yep. That makes sense. Makes sense. All right, thank you. All right, first item of old business is to talk about local law, the possibility of local law number 1 of 2018, which would establish a tax cap override for the 2018 fiscal year. This is not us committing to doing this. This is us procedurally making sure that if we feel the need is there, that we have the law in place to do that, because you can't budget higher than the tax cap without this law in place. Is that correct, Andy?
That's correct.
So in order to pass local law, we have to set a public hearing. So I guess I'm looking for a motion to set a public hearing for.
Bob, is this something you have to establish every year?
If as procedurally, yes. If the possibility exists, yes, yes.
Now, my concern is if you do this and you go over the budget cap, the people that get these checks is going to hurt these people.
Oh, I understand that.
You won't get them.
It's going to really hurt them. And,
yeah.
And with the taxes and everything going up, it's just going.
Yep. I have zero desire to do this, and this is my first budget season, so I haven't gone through the process yet. And coming out of six-figure expenses from the flood that we had, it put us in a tricky spot. I want on the record that I have zero desire to use this, but procedurally I just want to make sure it's there in case.
I was wanted in place in case you have.
Exactly, but that is the last thing I want to do, especially with everything that's going on right now. So I understand your concern. I'm pretty sure you represent about 3,500 people thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
Rough number, give or take.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I go on the record. I'm definitely not in favor of going over the tax cap, but I understand why we have to do it. At least get the steps in place in case we do. But I mean, I'm dead set against it as well. For sure.
Well, I know most of you guys are.
I don't think anybody
I
wants
think-
it, right? Because
I
we're all,
think
we're
we're
all
likely all
taxpayers
against
too.
it,
so-
yeah.
It's fair to say, because
No.
it's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
But I think we have our heads in sand if we don't, at least, we have to put it in place just in case.
Right. I mean, it would be a pretty wild scenario for us to have to feel the need to do
It's
this.
like the town, they did the same thing.
What's that?
They
Did,
tax cap.
procedurally, you mean, or went over the tax
I
cap?
hope you did, didn't you, Mark?
We had the year of the pool. The year we did the pool, we had both.
2017. But yet the check still came in.
Because you didn't go over, it, right?
Mark, did you go over on that?
Yeah, we know that.
But yet the check still came in.
That's fine.
So that's I just put it out there. My goal is not to use this.
Yeah.
We just have to procedurally have it in
If the
place.
state is listening, we could be wrong. Nobody heard that.
So I guess I'm looking for a motion to set a public hearing for the next meeting. Or Andy?
First order of business
Yeah.
is one of the board members introduces.
Has to make a motion.
Oh, my
Just
apologies.
introduce the local law.
Okay.
And once introduced, then set the public hearing.
Motion then I'll make a motion to introduce local law number 1 in 2018.
Do I need to read it?
No.
Okay.
Second.
All right. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now that we've introduced it, we need to set the motion.
Public hearing date.
Thank you. So I guess I'm looking for someone to put out a motion to set it for our next meeting
Next meeting, yeah.
date, which is our standard approach, which is April
the 10th.
10th. Can I make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
All right.
I'll second that.
Bobby with Ben second. Any further discussion on that?
What time?
What time will we do it? 6.
Might as well make it a regular.
Yeah,
Regular
start of
6
our
p.m.
meeting.
start
Open
time.
it up.
Well, your April meeting is gonna be your
Oh, that's
organizational, then
organizational.
it's gonna be your tentative budget, then it's gonna be.
Let's do an emergency
That's okay.
meeting so we can get these guys
No,
in
no,
for one more
No.
special meeting. Sorry.
Well, it's going to be a long meeting anyway, and the public hearing, if there's not that many people here to voice their displeasure, we can just keep it open like we
Right.
normally do, right? If it's a really a
One
non.
at 6 o'clock.
And one of
Andy?
the things to consider is coordinating with the public hearing on the tentative budget, because the only reason for this is because of the
So,
tentative
right.
budget. So
Okay.
look to have your public hearings on the tentative budget and this proposed local law
Same
to
time.
be coordinated.
Okay. Great. So 6 p.m. is what?
Yes.
6:30.
Make it our
6:30?
regular scheduled meeting.
Andrew requesting 6:30.
6:30.
You want to get the.
After
You want to get the.
organizational, then you'll
That makes
have
sense.
your tentative budget.
So we have to go through the organizational stuff first, and
Yeah.
that will take a half hour. Okay. So we're thinking 6:30 start time.
So totally fine. Make
Okay.
the motion for 6:30 on April 10th.
All right.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And again, not that it needs to be said, but on the record, this has merely been introduced.
Mm-hmm.
It is still requires a public hearing and consideration by the board before it is acted upon and can become enforceable. It's merely introduced. It's the
Thank
first
you.
step.
Great. Thank you, Andy. All right. I have on the agenda discussion regarding the possible adoption of the town tax roll for the 2019-2020 fiscal year. I don't think there's that much to discuss about it. I just want to make sure that everyone understands a few key things. This is not the new tax roll will not affect our current budget coming up. It's the one that will start for the 1920 fiscal year. The second thing is by now everyone should have received their letter in the mail. I've actually reached out to GAR Associates twice because I had two separate questions on some things to get understanding of how the process worked. I have some things that I need to check on and possibly grieve, and that's fine. I think, and town supervisor, please back me up on this. I don't think that anyone's seeing the grievance process as a way of going after them. It's just a way of making sure that all the details are right. And I think, in a sense, they're encouraging everyone, if they have a question, to reach out to them.
It really is the best time to share any information. If you don't agree with the assessment number that you were given, it's the absolute best time to reach out to them, schedule this meeting, present the information that you have that would explain why you feel the way that you feel, if that
Yep.
number's not right. I talked to somebody yesterday whose house is not finished on the inside, and they put the foundation on, the outside looks like it's finished. I know for a fact the inside's not finished. He said, invite them into the house.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, do whatever steps are necessary, but the important part of all of this is to reach out to them by this Friday, because the deadline to set up that meeting is this Friday.
So you have to make sure to set the appointment this week for a later date. There's a whole bunch of information online in the town. It's a town website.
The town website it's a great video. To go to the assessment
2 videos
section.
now, right?
There's 2 videos. The one that's on top is the most recent one, which actually does a very good job explaining what your next step is going to be.
Yeah, and I will say that for me as a homeowner, even with my technological understanding and understanding the systems, there's a lot to this. So people really need to look into that and call them and ask questions if they have. And I just want to stress that if you know people who have questions, just call them, because they're open and they will talk you through everything and show you where everything is that you need to get. So do you guys have anything else you want to mention or offer on this? We don't have to make this decision right now. We just have to choose to do it before the grievance period for us would be, not this grievance period, your standard grievance period for village assessment, which is like February of 2019. So, yeah. So.
Yeah, this would impact the village's tentative role for the
20 year.
Fiscal year.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything else you want to offer? Anything you want to state? Anything's fine. Okay. All right. Moving on. Discussion and potential decision regarding requested parking signs on Elm Street. Is Terry? Awesome. Terry made it. Okay. This is regarding your place of business, your place of work, and we have to refresh us on what we discussed last time with the signage and the hours that we were looking for.
I've since made sure I posted my hours in all 3 windows.
Okay.
All I need is the 2 parking spaces, which actually the length of my actual property is 3. I'm wanting 2. I would like it to say, you know, business parking only during business hours. Meaning the business hours are posted. The 2 people that are out there should either be in my salon or on their way out of it.
Okay.
And then anytime afterwards. And what is the towing process with that? Do I call? Who do I call? What do I do? Do I call the police? Do I call the towers?
I would recommend talking to Bob Ash about what the best procedure is for that.
They've since straightened up a little bit. I cleared it with Neil, and we've been parking our plow truck out front so that on garbage day we actually have parking the next day. But
okay. So
they've been a little bit better, but
you're looking for some sign or signage that basically says business parking only during business hours.
Right, between the two, it was like, unfortunately, like on Wilder Avenue, it used to say parking between signs only. That's what it used to say. And then all of a sudden now it says no parking. That's all, was between those 2 signs was technically the only legal on-street parking on Wilder, would be my estimation of that. And everybody else should have been parked off-street in their off-street parking.
Now we're jumping ship though.
Yeah, but it was between signs.
Okay.
So you might need 2, you can put one on there. I have 2 telephone poles in front of my shop. You could put one on there.
Oh, okay.
What, put what, a sign?
Yeah.
No, we can't put a sign on a telephone pole.
Oh, okay.
Is that an ordinance?
Yeah, those aren't ours.
You can't put a sign on a telephone pole, we don't own it.
Not a problem.
It's a great idea, but yes, you can't do it because we don't own it.
It's been buried, yeah.
So, to address this, the vehicle and traffic law does allow the village board to prohibit or restrict parking on village streets. And the law says you can do it by local law or ordinance or order. I've looked in the local laws adopted by the village. The village in the past has regulated parking on village streets through a local law.
Yep.
That's been your precedent. So in order to do this, my recommendation would be to get a local law drafted that would specifically regulate the signage on that village street and restrict it for business parking during certain hours. That would be the recommended procedure because that is how the village has regulated parking on village streets in the past.
What's the procedure on the order? How does the order work as opposed to local law?
It is there's not the local law procedure, there's not the necessity of a public hearing. It would be in the form of what's called a resolution and order of the village board.
Okay.
Okay? It would not be in the same manner that the village has done in the past concerning restricting or regulating parking on village streets.
Is the enforcement the same ability to enforce by an order versus a local law?
It is. I'd be a little concerned, and I'd like to take a further look at, given you're not going to be changing or amending your earlier local law, but by the board having done regulation of parking on village streets by local laws in the past, I think it would at least give someone an argument that you used a different procedure.
Right.
Okay.
I think we should follow the precedent and do it the way we have in the past.
I looked them up.
Okay.
One particular dealing with restricting parking on village streets. Obviously, any kind of street signs or traffic control signs have all been done through local law, and that is general municipal procedure.
Okay.
Through local law.
So we're looking at basically drafting the law before next meeting, introducing it next meeting, public hearing, and possible adoption the following. So that'd be 2 meetings from now. May.
May.
Yeah.
I guess too, it give the neighbors or anybody in the area an opportunity to speak on
That's
it.
correct, because the public hearing would be noticed, it'd be on the village website, it'd be in the paper.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What's the law on parking on top of the stop sign at the corner?
Parking on, what do you mean?
Right up to the stop sign on the street, there's 3-4 cars.
I'm going to give you my immediate off-the-cuff answer. Subject to checking the vehicle and traffic law, there are restrictions on being a certain distance away from intersections and traffic signs. And that can be...
There's a lot of it going on in the village here, so I don't know how we're going
to the extent of that, you should coordinate with the
stop
village
sign
police department. I think that's a violation of the vehicle and traffic law.
Well, there's a lot of it, so
All right.
just to let you know.
All right. So then it looks like it seems like the board is in favor of this, and it looks like we're going to put the local law out next time.
Well, I spoke to the other landlord, and he's like, go for it. He says, I offered him, it's a parking lot in the back. Like,
Right.
Almost as big as
Okay.
what you have on the side here. He's like, go for it.
All right.
His tenants might come to the meeting.
Right, and if they have that prerogative, but
Absolutely.
I understand,
Yeah.
you have the right too, I
Yep.
mean, I don't blame you one bit, it's your business.
All right. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Would the law be specific to Terry's location, or would it be a blanket law where the village board can establish these
No,
spots?
it'd be specific
Okay.
to that.
Oh, it'd be just, okay.
A law specific to one street?
Just to you?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting.
Well, if you
We're
know of
gonna
anyone
name it-
else
we're
who
gonna
needs
name it
that
Terry's
scenario,
Law.
you gotta
I said that
Terry's Law.
Terry's Law.
I said that last meeting, Bobby. And then I found out it was there was a law that was a Terry statute.
All right. Okay. Moving on.
Wait. Do we
I'm
need
gonna
to?
give you-
Do we need to?
Yeah, we need a
Do we need
motion
to say
for that.
something and make a
To
motion
draft the law.
Yeah.
to draft the
present.
law for the
You
next
can
meeting?
certainly
Or
direct me to draft a local law.
Ben, do you want to?
I'll make the motion that our attorney drafts a local law for the next meeting, and we establish a public hearing at the next meeting for said local law. Number 2, Terry's Law.
There you go.
Second, Karen. Thank you. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ben.
And I'll give you one example.
Thank you as well.
This was a local law from 2010, saying on a specific street, the village has a local law relating to no parking on certain sections of this street within the village. So this would be particular to the...
Okay, with that, then how come those signs were taken down with no?
The question is about Wilder Avenue. There used to be signs in front of or near a property which allowed a certain area, and then so at some point they were changed to no parking here.
This year, like not that long ago.
It was this year?
It was like December, November, whatever it was. It just happened.
I didn't realize it was
Changing
this
of
year.
going from parking between signs to no parking.
Wasn't there a time frame when the signs were gone altogether?
That I don't know,
I
because
believe
I
it
was
Then
never.
there was a complaint because of the crest of the hill.
No, those, it was always parking between signs. That went up about between 5 and 10 years ago, and when we went up for the inspection, and I parked out there, not looking at the signs, and they're like, you're parked illegally? I'm like, no, I'm parked between the signs. And I went out and they said no parking. I'm
Huh.
like, oh yeah,
I
they
think that was
changed
in
them.
response to a complaint.
Right, but they changed them not that long ago, it was less than a year ago.
I didn't realize the sign had changed. I know that they had looked into it about, 4 or 5 months ago? And they found the local law that did specifically say southern
perhaps
side
the old
Wilder.
signs were out of compliance.
Between sign laws.
So the question is, was there an ordinance
They were
set
the
up
wrong
that allowed
signs.
those?
So I'm guessing they were the wrong signs, that the law that was passed said no parking, but at some point someone said, oh, between these two
No,
signs.
there was never no parking signs up there, then they put
Yeah,
parking.
We'll look it
look
up. We'll look it up, and I'll speak with Neil and see.
Or that those weren't supposed to be the right ones there.
And you can email me every couple of weeks to see.
Every couple weeks,
Should be in our local.
Every day.
Right, Rob?
That's fine.
Should be in our local law book.
It should be in our local law book. That's right.
Yeah.
All right.
There was a law about local.
Right, and then they
All right.
changed it and put between signs only.
Moving on to the bid opening change. This is, we don't have to do anything motion-wise. This is just more of an announcement, right? Okay. This is related to the sewer project. The bid opening for the sanitary sewer improvement project, scheduled originally for Thursday, March 15th at 2 p.m., has been changed to Thursday, March 22nd at 2 p.m. And this works out because our final easement, we should be hearing a couple days before then what the judge's decision is regarding that.
But certainly the date.
That's our hope.
Pleadings need to be submitted by the village or fully submitted.
Yep.
And the court has given Mr. Catania until the 20th to submit any further evidence, and then the court will issue a decision.
Okay.
We can't say that it'll be on the 20th.
Okay,
but
maybe
it
in
will
the
be
days.
shortly thereafter.
Okay.
The judge has made it quite clear that he wants to get this off his desk.
Okay. All right. New business. The next 5, which we numbered, are all specific to the wastewater effluent disinfection study, and this is to add basically ultraviolet treatments in the plan down there. So first, I'm looking for a motion to pass a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a grant agreement with New York State Environmental Facilities Corporation (EFC) wastewater engineering planning for the wastewater engineering planning grant agreement.
Motion.
Second. Kevin and second Ben. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
No, roll call.
Oh, this is a roll call vote? Roll call vote.
Yes.
Karen?
Yes.
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 Brian is going to abstain
Brian.
by default. He runs a little boys room, I think, or something. I don't know. And I'll put a yes as well. Thank you. All right. Passes. So now looking for motion for resolution stating that the Village of Hoosick Falls hereby determines that the proposed engineering report for the wastewater treatment plant effluent disinfection study is a Type 2 action. This is related to Speedy's, right? Speedy's permit? Okay.
Motion.
Ben?
Second.
Second, Bobby. Any further discussion on this? This is also a roll call vote, I'm assuming? Okay.
Karen?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Doug?
Yes.
Ben?
Yes.
And Kevin? Oh.
Yes. All right. Passes. Looking for a motion to adopt the resolution authorizing a minimum local match of $6,000 or 20% match of the grant award of $30,000.
Motion.
Thank you, Brian.
Second.
Second, Bobby. Any further discussion on this?
Coming from where?
Budgeted. It'll be budgeted in the next budget.
Okay.
Does that make the total budget 36,000?
No, that means for the grant award, if I have this correct, they will reimburse us the $6,000 after we've spent it, up to $6,000, and the companies will spend the $24,000 and then get reimbursed at the end. Which is how I think that's how the grants work. Does that sound right, Andy?
Would not my
It's $30,000 grant with a match of $6,000 or 20%. So we will spend that up front, and they will reimburse it.
It really be subject to the terms of the grant.
I have to double check that.
Right.
That one, but I know that their budget was just about 24. You don't know this one, do you? I'm not sure about that. There's so many grants we have going on right now.
The December 22nd engineering planning grant for $30,000.
Either way, it's our
Right.
Water.
That was the one.
3,000 fund.
The question is, do we get this money back, or do we lose this money in terms of
Comes
the
back.
Does come back. Okay, so we spend it first, and then it gets reimbursed through the grants. Okay. There we go. Okay. We have the motion, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote.
Yes.
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 Ben?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
Just wanted to be acknowledged.
All right. Motion carries. Resolution carries, rather. Now I have a proposal from MRB for professional engineering services for the effluent disinfection and wastewater treatment plant in the amount of $24,800. So this would be basically adopting their proposal and using them in the grants.
Just a bid or what? Just
Thank you.
professional service?
What's that?
Professional services is what I'm putting up a bid, right?
Yes. Proposal for engineering services to evaluate improvements to wastewater treatment plants. This is basically. What's that?
Professional services, right? We don't need to, right?
Right. We used them when we initially got the grant. So this would be basically be having them continue to work on this.
No. Okay. So I'll make the motion.
Okay. Thank you, Bobby.
Second.
Second, Karen. Any further discussion? I know they've been involved in this for some time.
Very, very helpful.
Do we need a roll call vote on this?
No.
No, it's just adopting proposal. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The final proposal, looking for a motion to accept the proposal from Jade Stone Engineering to assist MRB, thank you, with the required evaluation of the electrical service. I'll explain. I'm looking for the motion first.
Motion.
Thank you, Ben.
Second.
And second, Karen. Thank you. This is the planning portion of this. This isn't actual doing the work, because one of the questions I had was, why would we bring in somebody from across the state to do this? But this is just the planning phase of this study. They're not going to actually do the work there. I asked the water guys, or the wastewater treatment guys, who's done the work predominantly down there, and I think Bradley has done pretty much every job that they've had down there. So this is just the planning for the actual work as pursuant to the study they're putting together. So, any other questions on that?
How much does that cost?
It's
Is there
factored into
the
everything.
24,800?
No, 5,500. I feel like that was inside the proposal. Was that part of the proposal, or was that on top of the proposal?
Well, we talked to him today. That's included in the grant.
But is this included in MRB's 24/8 budget proposal that they put forward? Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Any other discussion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Motion carries. Those are all related to the wastewater treatment plant study, so that's done. Moving on, motion to accept a proposal from Empire GEO Services for geotechnical evaluation for the proposed highway garage in the amount of $1,700.
Motion.
Thank you, Brian. Looking for a second?
Second.
All right, we'll give it to Bob Downing. This is going to come out of the grant for the highway garage. This is part of whatever they have to do to check out the soil in the area. And MRB requested, I think we got two.
There was two proposals.
There were two proposals.
One was 2,625, and this was 1,700.
1,700. And MRB preferred this one?
Right. MRB recommended this one.
I like the lower number.
Yep.
Any questions on that?
This one didn't include any sampling charges, but they said they estimated it would probably be between $200 and $300 for the sampling charges, because they hadn't determined what sampling they had to do yet.
Okay.
So if anything, that's what they said.
Where's the other one?
What is it that they're looking for?
And the other didn't include it either.
That's what they're trying to figure out, what exactly they're looking for.
Where they can, they're gonna be able.
I know VOCs
concrete. They're gonna put the pad down to put the building on. They want to make sure that the soil is.
VOCs is probably the main concern.
Okay.
Right. They were looking.
But
I just want to understand what.
Yep.
What they're looking at.
It's all related to probably whatever regulations were set up by probably DEC or whoever else will be involved in that.
Thank you.
When do they expect the bids for that?
I have an email. No, that's a sewer. I know that. Wait, the bids haven't gone out for this one yet. I know that
they're not opening until the 22nd. That was a change.
No, that's the sewer one. This is the highway garage.
The contractors, that'd be up to MRB to.
I'd have to double check with Neil, but I know the plan is to break ground and be done this spring and summer season.
I don't know who the contractor is.
So I think that their goal is to have this finished by early fall, everything, which would be great. But I'm not exactly
So we
sure.
don't know what the cost is.
Of the whole thing yet?
No, just
No, because I think they're still fine tuning the
just
designs.
MRBC for 129.
Yeah.
That's it. So far.
Yeah. Any other questions? All right, we do have the motion, right, on the floor? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay. I brought this up, just put it on the agenda, but I had some good comments on email, but I want to just bring up the idea of establishing a committee of trustees to review all local laws pertaining to code enforcement. As we've started to go back through all the local laws to find things, I'm starting to notice that there's a plethora of local laws that all apply, and it'd be nice to have it all in one place. Online, I know we do have a lot of the code online, and I know we have Mark full-time accessible to answer questions on that. But I think it's just another step in getting the foundation of code enforcement even stronger than we have now. And I just sort of thought it was sort of the next sort of step is to have some trustees look over that and have a bunch of conversations with Mark and see what things should be, would be worth looking into, is changing, modifying, adding, subtracting, whatever. But I think the general comment was, why don't we wait until next meeting when we have the new board, which made a lot of sense. But I did want to just put that out there that that's on the radar.
No, I think it's a great idea. I just think that we should make sure we
update the codes.
The codes are
Spend all
updated.
that money.
Right. Now, the local laws are...
This is on code enforcement.
Yeah.
It's different.
Apartments.
Yeah.
If we got all these laws, we shouldn't enforce them. We shouldn't make, keep making new laws. We should enforce the laws we've got.
Well, that's what we're...
Which we don't.
Well, I think that's what we want to review with them to know what they are and what should be.
I don't even know half of them myself, but it's a good idea to get somebody.
Yeah. So, all right,
Mark,
so
could you give Bob a copy of the local laws so he can study them while he's going to be retired now?
Now he's retiring. He's got all kinds of time.
He could be on the committee.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, no, I want to.
All right, so we'll wait until next meeting if that's all right with everybody.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, that's fine.
This is another sort of yeah, that it is.
Bob and Karen. There was a motion by Bob and second by Karen.
I'll give you a thumbs up on that one.
Also, I wanted to start a discussion about the possibility of a multi-year contract with the Rensselaer County Snow Riders Incorporated. We approved their use of Winterlands, but it was like late in the fall or early winter.
No, it was already, it already snowed.
It already snowed, so I just wanted to just broach it with the board. Is what are your thoughts on working over the next maybe month or two? I don't think there's a huge rush, but I
Did
want
he
to...
send you the updated version that they created for the 3-month or 3-year changes or no? Okay, I will request that. The idea was that what happened this year doesn't occur again. Where they actually we had the wrong email address. He wasn't getting Greenway meeting notes.
Oh. Okay.
Which I've noticed everyone email the whole group keeps using the wrong address. It's some guy in Sweden. But guys, no, stop.
I'm sure he's very excited.
Yeah. Peter Bjorn doesn't care, but what the guy's name is. But the idea is basically we do a 2 or 3 year agreement. It's multi-year, where they once a year automatically send us proof of their insurance that they're current. But otherwise, it's a standard agreement where yes, they can use it. They help us out with grooming the trail. They use the northern part of it. And it's actually fascinating. I didn't realize it covers members and non-members. Anybody that's basically snowmobiling, they're taking on that liability. The other thing that they're willing to do is I brought up that I noticed a lot of snowmobile tracks from the southern half of the Greenway, which that's not part of this. And he also had brought up that that's one of those things like they can't necessarily help with enforcement, but they certainly can reach out, and people who aren't supposed to be using it, their members will kind of enforce some of that in a way where it's kind of like they see someone else do it, they're like, hey, knock that off, it's not cool, we're getting special permission here.
I may stand corrected. I think I did receive something where there were some proposed changes, because what you just said about covering their invitees.
Yeah.
I think they wanted that stricken because they can only control their
members. Right.
So we may have something from them already redlined.
Okay.
We'll look at that, and I am looking at the issue of the duration. And 2 years is never an issue.
Okay.
Going beyond 2 years, which is a term with the board, can raise some issues.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Well, I think that
Maybe
the
every 2
idea of
years.
the meeting, the agreement meeting, we brought that up was twofold. That what is happening is sometimes the board will change or the mayor will change, and then the idea was that if it's the 2 year and it changes with the board, that having it in an odd year or have it run where the mayor position is not the opposite years that it's up.
That we can coordinate. It's just
Yeah, that was kind of the idea
the
with that.
duration of
All right.
So you don't lose all the board members.
Right, they don't forget about the agreement, and then all of a
Right.
sudden they're back in the same spot.
So you're thinking of aligning it with the mayor's 2 years?
That was kind of the idea, yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, opposite the mayor's 2 years. So
Opposite.
it would be this year through the middle of next term.
All right.
Yes.
Your next
So,
term.
nice.
So that way the mayor that's new, they have to come back to renew it in the middle of the term instead of after the change.
Those new mayors.
See what I did?
I see what you did there.
No
All right,
different
so
than-
we're
than
gonna.
this mayor.
So with permission of the board, we're gonna pursue that if that's all right.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
great. Okay, looking for a motion to enter into a 36-month contract with Constellation Energy effective May 1 of 2018 at a fixed rate of $0.05070. I'll take the
For what?
motion for energy costs. And I'll
Motion.
spin a little bit. Ben?
Second.
And second, Karen. I was speaking with Denise about this today when they reached out to us. They offer a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year contract. The 1 year is the lowest, but the price of the 3 year is actually a full cent lower than what we have already been paying for energy. So they recommended, because the price just happens to be so low right now, to absolutely grab it and go for 3 years. And that's what Denise thought as well, and it made sense to me. Do you have that? Is that the email? That doesn't have the other 3. Okay. But right now, I think we were on a 1 year. I know there was one particular season, one particular awful moment where she remembers a ridiculous energy bill because the prices had spiked really, really, really high from the wastewater treatment plant. Something ludicrous in the multiple tens of thousands of dollars for one bill just because the energy spiked. So that's sort of why this is here. It's time to pick a contract. Anyway, we can go with the 1 year, which I want to say was like 0.048 or 0.049. I could probably find that real fast. Or the 36-month, which is our recommendation.
Is this an agreement, Andy? Have you seen this agreement, or?
I have not.
I guess my question before voting yes or no on this would be: I know when years ago the law changed and you could select your provider, which was ridiculous because they come on the same wires anyway. That whoever's providing it, that a lot of people got caught in situations, or have we used them before? Like, what's their track record?
Try and back you.
We used them for the streetlight audit.
With NG. Judy knows all about NG.
Well, I'd say I want to make sure this is one that it is.
It's a Troy and Banks. That's who does
You'll
this
see
for us.
the vouchers on it with the amount.
NG.
Okay.
Dozens and dozens, but these people will take the place of them.
So the reputation-wise, we're
excellent. And every
Try
3
and
months, I get a notice through the mail that they also will give a grant out to not-for-profits or schools for like $250. You just take it to that organization and they apply for it and they give money out.
Yeah, they're good group.
All right. Thank you.
all right. I just wanted to check on that. Thank you.
Any other discussion on this?
Does this cover all of the village's buildings?
As far as I know, it does.
Buildings, yeah.
Yeah.
All of our electric.
Yeah.
You got a better rate than I do.
Possibly for 3 years too.
I'll make the motion.
Do we have the motion already?
Yeah. It's up.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We already have
I'm
the
sorry.
motion.
Yeah, we're in discussion.
But I appreciate your excitement on it.
I don't want to keep laboring on it.
Any? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Motion carries. Thank you.
Bobby, I'm sorry.
No.
All right. Looking for a motion to approve a budget modification to reduce budget line G8110.15, which is the attorney personal services. Person abbreviated. All right, by 1,920, and increase line item G8110.4, which is contractual, by 1,920 in the sewer fund.
So just
Motion.
move. Second.
Karen, Ben?
I'll wait for discussion.
We're in discussion now.
So we're just moving it from one to the other?
Yes.
But it's the same?
Yes.
It's not like he's giving us a break.
No. Well, I mean, yes, but no.
Yeah.
No. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Before I go to this next point, where we're going to shortly break for a short recess, and after that we will simply just go into executive session, no additional business afterwards. I want to personally thank Trustee Bob Downing and Karen Sprague. And I'm not thanking you because you still have a chance. But
I'll come back during the April meeting.
There you go. You'll be here for the April meeting either way. As a new guy stepping into the position of mayor, I leaned heavily on the board and really found them to be open and trustworthy and sincere in their concern for the village. Bob, I appreciate everything you say, all of your stances. I even more strongly appreciate when you are the naysayer, because I really, really value everyone's opinion and I want everyone to speak up. And there's a certain amount of courage it takes to do that. And I know that you have been on this board longer than I have been in this village. And I've been teaching at the school for 11 years now. He is almost 2 decades on. So, Bob, thank you very much. And Karen, I was trying to think of how to say this, and the only thing I could do is I can compare you to Izzy. Not often do they speak up, but when they speak, everyone stops and listens and nods. And I didn't realize that today was the 4-year anniversary of her passing. So I want to thank both of you for everything you've done for us and for the board. And with permission, I'd like to go to a short recess so that we can all thank them and enjoy some food. We have that's Bob. You get first dibs on that one. And I had to include jelly beans because that's just what I do. So do I need a motion to go into a short recess? To thank them, or
you have a motion to go into executive session following a short recess.
I can do that. I'm looking for a motion to go into executive session for updates on pending or possible litigation. Following a short recess. Thank you, Karen. Seconded by Bob Downing. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you, everyone. Please shake their hands, thank them, and have some food.
No, if you'd opposed that vote, would they have to stay on the board?
Yeah.
We coming Thursday?
Yeah.
You're on it.
That's true.